All right, I'm going to take the New York Knicks minus 11.5. I'm laying the wood versus the Portland Trailblazers in this one. I've got an edge on the number in this where I've got it about 12.5. That's a full point. There's also a trend that I like in this spot, which is this is a weird one. Teams, if you are playing, I did this one a lot last year, where if you played the Thunder, the next game you were kind of trash. And this season, guess who that team has been? It's been the Brooklyn Nets have been one of those teams that if you play the Brooklyn Nets, your winning percentage and cover percentage is absolutely in the toilet. So that's been an angle on this one. So that gives me a solid angle to go ahead and take this. Also, look, the Knicks I just think are probably underrated in the market because like OG, I do think is actually legitimately changed things up for them. I think that has legitimately shifted things. Opponents this season in the game after playing the Brooklyn Nets, 12 and 23 ATS for 34%. Like, I am totally open to you saying like, yeah, but what's the logic in this? And my response would be, I think it's probably that there's a certain way that teams play and the Nets cover so much ground because they move the ball side to side, constantly shooting threes and offensive rebounding. It's pretty exhausting. They're a pain in the to play. But we see this trend consistently that there are certain teams that the game after, I mean, we're talking about 34% here. We're not talking about like a tight margin. This is 12 and 23, 34%. And we have like the Thunder have been in their top 5 in this category. They've been top 5 consistently. All of this to me, the Blazers are a team that can definitely jump up and bite you. I think the Knicks are rolling right now. They're in a really good place. I'm going to ride that. I'm going to lay 11.5 with the Knicks. Jay, am I laying too much?
I don't think so. I mean, the Blazers are obviously coming off a big win.
Yep.
The Knicks have been balling. I mean, ever since they got OG with 4-0 straight up and against the spread. So this team is a wagon right now. They beat up on bad teams. I don't necessarily like the spot for them. I hate backing a team that's coming off of a little mini road trip, come home for one game, and then they head back out on the road. That game is essentially another road game. So it's not something that I really like to. But just as far as the two teams matching up, the Blazers coming off that overtime game, a huge win versus the Brooklyn Nets. The Knicks are a wagon right now. I'm not fading them, so I can't talk you off, man.
Portland also with the New York nightlife game. They've been hanging out in New York for a couple of days, so we'll see if that has an impact as well. Brian, as a New Yorker, you got thoughts
Yeah.
on this angle?
I mean, it'll be fun to watch Duop Reith and Scoot
Yeah.
Henderson. For fantasy basketball players out there, those are two guys to really watch out for. But I mean, I don't. Other than that, I mean, I can't talk you off this either. I don't. It was a couple more points than I probably was ready for.
Yeah.
But I can totally see why, because it feels like a letdown spot for the Blazers after that win.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the Knicks, they've just been so crisp defensively lately. And prop wise, I've been looking at Isaiah Hartenstein a lot lately. So he's somebody I'd probably look at again in this matchup. He's been coming through even on the assists. I had him over 2.5 assists. I'm forgetting which game it was a couple games ago. And that was at plus 160. He finished with 5. So he's somebody who can also fill up the stat sheet. So if you're looking at props, Isaiah Hartenstein is somebody who you can continue to sort of monitor, especially for this game, where I think this is a good spot for the Knicks to do what they've been doing since they got OG Anunoby.